Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 76. We're going to crack this thing open with a little bit of mindset, and I want to hit you with this quote from this book right here called Mastery. It's funny, Pace, Jamil suggested that other Mastery book, and this one popped up first, so I bought this, and then he said, no, it's by the Leonard guy, so I went and read one, and then I came back
Two books.
because I already bought it, right? And it's phenomenal, and it does a really good job here on page 26 to open us all up. At your birth, a seed is planted. That seed is your uniqueness. It wants to grow, transform itself, and flower to its full potential. It has a natural, assertive energy to it. Your life's task is to bring that seed to flower, to express your uniqueness through your work. You have a destiny to fulfill. The stronger you feel and maintain it as a force, a voice, or whatever form, the greater your chance for fulfilling this life's task and achieving mastery. I love that. You know what I love the most about that is that we're all different. We all have different DNA. We're all, 1 out of 400 trillion is the chances that we become human beings, right? We all know that from Gary Vee talking about that, how we could have been born a tree or whatever else, right? But I think that it's so interesting that it's not comparing ourselves to where other people are at or comparing ourselves, the skills that we have versus somebody else, or comparing how people are luckier than other people. It's just what is unique about you? What is that uniqueness? What is that life task that you have? And I think that another way to put that is, what is that potential, right? What is the potential that you have? What is the passion that you have that you know that you can, if you did it, you would be extremely happy. And it's something that you can do over and over and over again for the rest of your lives, touching on kind of where we were at last week with the thought of retirement, something that is so exciting and unique to you that you just get fired up and you just can do it. And not to say that it's an easy path, not to say that there's not some give and take, but just saying that it's, on the path to happiness and that path of fulfillment, on the path of mastery. It's exciting to know that we all have unique talents and abilities. So anybody out there, no matter where you're at, you can succeed as a real estate entrepreneur. Just make sure that it's that fire in your belly. Make sure it's not to do it for somebody else, but to do it for yourself. You do that and you get in alignment with yourself and what your goals are, you're unstoppable. I don't think anybody on here watching, listening, whatever, will fail if you keep going and build up your endurance and do this long enough. So there we go. Welcome. Wholesale Hotline number 76 with a young man here, Zach Ginn, out of Florida. You have seen him. You've probably seen him on social media. You've seen on his YouTube channel. He does a phenomenal job of one of my favorite things. One of my themes of 2021.
Get loud.
Get loud. Get loud, get loud, get loud. And this young man has taken it to heart, and you can see the impact that he's having. So, Zach, welcome. Pace, great to see you. Jamil, looking just classy as ever, brother. Let's rock this next 90 minutes.
Hey, bro, can you do me a favor, please? Can you start us off by reading this first comment down? It was written just for you.
Oh, yeah. Ring that bell. Closed a micro flip wholesale deal on Friday and made $4,350. By the way, you see that? You did a brilliant job, Jamil. You changed the name. Micro flip. Nobody had micro flip. You changed the name from what people would call daisy chaining or whatever, right? Micro flip. You micro flip this. It's all the words that we use. That's what's important. It's 100%. Incredible. So congratulations, Nathan.
Well done, Nathan. Well done. What's up, Christian? Zach.
What's up?
Dude, first and foremost, I love you, man. I watch your content. I love your spirit. I love your fire. You don't cut anybody any slack. If you see people taking advantage of people, you're on them. You tear them one. You call it out. You bring the people onto your platform that I've been on your podcast before. I know Pace has been there. You bring people that you believe in, and I love that. But at the same time, dude, I just think it's so impressive how somebody of your age has not only done such an amazing job at building a business, but has in parallel turned himself into an extremely talented and respected influencer in this space. And, I want to commend you for that. And as Brent has said, 2021 is the year to get loud. And Casey mentioned earlier in the program that Zach, you've done that and did a phenomenal job getting loud. Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us a little bit about what brought you to that realization that it was time for Zach to bring a microphone to the business and share his experiences with the masses.
Oh yeah, this is an easy one. First of all, Jamil, Pace, Brent, thank you so much for coming on. You all three have blessed me going on my show when I barely had anyone like following me at all. So you guys definitely were part of my journey. So thank you to all of you guys. Absolutely just been a blessing into my life. I know I've done some deals with Pace's team. So you guys are absolutely amazing. But to answer your question, Jamil, I've been so blessed in my life to have Rick Ginn as my father. If you guys don't know, he is basically a real estate wholesaler of 19 years. He, in my opinion, is the GOAT of wholesalers. And that's saying a lot. And he's truly been the guiding light for me when I started out in wholesaling and where I'm at now. And the lessons he has taught me over the past 4 years has given me such an advantage over every other person starting out in wholesaling. It's insane. And I realized I had two options. I could take all that knowledge and just hoard it in my brain and just destroy Port St. Lucie wholesaling, or I could destroy Port St. Lucie wholesaling and throw Rick behind a camera and everything he told me, click record and just give it to the people in mass. And I decided to do option number 2. And when I started recording him and I started recording my journey going from 100,000 to 7 figures a year in wholesaling, that's when it all blew up. That's really what changed the game for me, is just I started recording the person that changed my life into wholesaling, and it started teaching everyone about it and helped a lot of people out, and the rest is history.
Amazing. You see this? Your dad is watching, bro. And he's super proud of you, man, as we all are. It's just amazing to watch your journey. And how cool is that? How cool is it that Pops is tuning in to watch his son crush it on Wholesale Hotline 77? Rick, you've done a phenomenal job with your young man here, man. He's amazing. We love him.
Awesome.
So how do you win, Zach? How do you win in this thing? How do you go from not doing any deals to doing some deal? Like, give some people some texture to your story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'll do a quick story. I think a lot of people heard my story, but a lot of people are brand new hearing me out. So quick thing. My name is Zach Ginn. I'm a 21-year-old real estate investor. I used to say wholesaler, but honestly, after doing a bunch of creative financing, wholesaling, fix and flipping, I just call myself a real estate investor now. I'm obsessed with all of it. But basically, I am a 21-year-old real estate investor. I started out in this business at 17 years old. I was a bag boy, and my dad's Rick Ginn, so he's a wholesaler in Port St. Lucie. And I was always ran a pretty good business. And I didn't know how to make money starting out. So from the age of 14, I was basically a bag boy at a grocery store. And then for about 4 years, I worked that job. And one day, after just a hard day of working 9 hours as a bag boy, I saw a check on my dad's desk for $20,000. It was a wholesale assignment fee. And I was like, that's double than I'd make this year working full time as a bag boy. And I decided, I'm like, hey, Dad, what do you do? I know you do real estate. It sounds like The Sopranos when they tell everyone that like he works in the garbage industry. It's like he's in real estate. I never knew what he did. Classic.
You just won this whole show by being the first person to ever make a Sopranos reference. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. But I didn't know what he did. And I obviously didn't understand it. So he basically explained, hey, Zach, I wholesale real estate. He tried to explain it to me in one ear, out the other. I didn't know what he meant. And he basically said, it's wholesaling real estate. I looked it up. I went back to him like, hey, you got to teach me how to do this. I want to make money like you. And he said, hey, Zach, if you want it hard enough, you'll do it yourself. And that was a hard lesson he told me, but it was the best thing he could have ever done for me. I picked up all the books in his library. I read like every single Peter Conti, Frank McKinney book, Robert Sheeman, like all those guys, all from 2004, all those books on wholesaling real estate.
Yeah.
And it was really a big eye opener for me. And I learned about two options. So either I could have spent 10, 12 grand a month in direct mail like my dad was doing, or I would have had to do this thing called, I learned in this book called sweat equity, where I'd trade my sweat for dollars if I had no money. And I had about $300 in my bank account. I was spending all my money on my old Honda Accord at the time, and I had no money. And cold calling wasn't too big back then. This was early 2017. There's no.
So you're
Mr.
telling me
Brent
this is
Daniels.
before TTP, because TTP changed the game.
Yes, there was no Brent Daniels, no Pace, no Jamil, none of that. And so I basically, all I knew was we buy houses signs. So I spent all my money buying about 150 Bandit signs. And I was a big high school wrestler at the time. So outside my high school wrestling tournaments in the summer of 2017, I stuck all the Bandit signs out, about 50 a week for about 3 weeks. And basically I got my first call, and this was in high school. And I got kicked out of high school for answering the Bandit sign call. And it was a motivated seller. And I got super excited about it. I ran back home and got kicked out of school. So I ran back. You can't have your phone in school.
I love that, dude. I got kicked out of school all the time too. It's great.
So I run back. I tell my dad, hey, I got a motivated seller. They want to sell their house. They're looking to change jobs. They're moving out of state, and they want to sell. And it was in this like hot zip code in Port St. Lucie. So I'm about to tell him, I got to go run up there. I'm going to get this deal. And he said, Zach, you can't get this deal. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I got a motivated seller. I want to go get this deal. He said, you're 17 years old, Zach. You can't sign the contract. So he had to come with me on the contract because legally I couldn't sign a contract. So he went on the appointment with me. He went mute on the appointment because he wanted me to learn my lesson. I did a bunch of the ums and the buts through it, but eventually I got the contract signed, found a cash buyer, made about $20K my first deal. Eventually poured all the money into Bandit signs. And before I graduated high school, made about $100,000. And that was my high school journey. Went up to college, thought I was going to go dominate the college town I was in wholesaling real estate with Bandit signs. That failed massively. I learned I had to do virtual wholesaling. So I started cold calling. And that's when the game changed for me. That's when I went from an average wholesaler to an elite wholesaler. I cold called from 2 to 7 p.m. every single day on the Mojo dialer in my dorm room for a year straight. Eventually made $100K in about 2 semesters. Came back home, did school online, partnered up with Rick. He's like, you got to partner up with me. And ever since then, I've been running his operations. We've been partners on all of our operations, and we run what we have is a pretty healthy business.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Did you quit that school shiz?
No. I got a full ride scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'll talk about it really quick. I have like an eidetic memory. So it's the business school. So all I got to do is memorize terms. So I spend about 2 to 3 hours a week on school, and I just kind of pass through it. I read a textbook, take the class. It's a joke. The business school is a joke. But yeah, I graduated and graduated 2 years ago. So that was it. But I learned nothing from school.
So how old were you when you were making 5 hours of calls a day?
18 to 19.
So you made $100,000 at 19 years old.
Correct.
By calling distressed property owners.
That's it. High equity list, Port St. Lucie.
This is crazy, right? I mean, listen, it's an easy formula. Ugly houses, phone number, quality conversation. People go, how do I make 6 figures? And how do I do this? How do I be successful in real estate? Ugly houses, phone numbers, conversations.
Ugly houses, phone numbers, conversations. That's it, right?
I mean, here's an example. I mean, listen, and Zach, I love that, you make live calls, you're calling and talking with people on your live shows. I think that's a great way to show people the action of that. You're still doing that on some level. Are you still in that routine? Are you more higher level and have other people making calls or other marketing channels?
We're completely delegated in our business right now. Yeah, I think you're referring to, I did a challenge in a month where I did 3 sessions of 2 hours each of cold calling. Everyone thought I was this master cold. Everyone thinks I'm like the slick Grant Cardone, Jordan Belford cold caller. I'm not.
Yeah.
I think I'm average at a cold calling. Like,
by the way, all that shit's bullshit. All of that is all of that is lies. All of that is fake. All of that is not real. All of it is either staged or it's just cut perfectly. I'm telling you. The reason I don't go on for 2 hours like yourself is it's boring. It's really boring. You're talking to maybe 2 or 3 people that want to sell in 2 hours. People tune out. I've tested it. It didn't go well for me years ago, but whatever. You know what I mean? The fact is you don't have to be perfect. If you have the scaffolding, which is a good script, and understand that you're only going to get a certain amount you're only going to get 6 responses to asking somebody if they would consider an offer. When you ask somebody if they would consider an offer, or you ask them, when do you plan on selling this property? However you want to go, there's a couple different ways. You can go with a yes, no, which a lot of people don't like, or you can go with an open-ended question, which is fine, but I didn't see the needle move over the thousands of calls that I've tested that out on. So you can go with whatever, but just showing up and talking to a distressed property list is 95% of it, for real. The other bit is just a little bit is active listening and having a good enthusiasm, and you're off and running. I'm telling you. Ugly houses, phone number, quality conversation.
It's that simple, Brent. It's that simple. And again, you can go direct to seller. You can work with real estate agents. You can work with wholesalers. You can work with dead leads, as you've probably been doing since you've been moving into some creative finance space, kind of following the stuff that Pace does. Zach, I'd like to have the audience have an understanding of what does it look like for you in one business day. Can you walk us through your day from your schedule? What's your routine like? How many hours are you pulling lists? What is that like? Just give us the bird's eye Cliff Notes version of it, so that everyone who's out there that's DMing Brent, Pace, and myself, how do I get started? We can take a little clip of this wholesale hotline and send it to them as a response.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't know what my day is, it's kind of boring. Basically, wake up in the morning, I go work out, and then get back, shower good. We're up at 9. I guess I check the call results of the leads. I check on the appointments for the day that the acquisitions guy's going on, and just checking on the deals. I always check on the wholesale deals that we do, make sure everything's going pretty smooth, but it's kind of a little boring for me. It's delegated out. For the average person, though, I would say when you're starting out in this business, 2 to 7 p.m. is the time that I personally think is the best for cold calling. And then the time before that, you spend with follow-ups and you go on appointments. That's the perfect day for wholesaling, in my opinion. If you go tell me, hey, Zach, I got no money for skip tracing. Okay, pull a county list, do your probates, water shutoff, fire damage properties, code violations, go to truepeoplesearch.com, make a list. There's no excuse out right now. Go to Google Voice, go call. Like, there's no excuse in this business not to get leads. Leads is the number one thing in this business that will be your bottleneck. If you don't have leads come in, you're not going to get deals. Are you
still skip tracing with True People Search?
Oh, no.
Okay, good.
No.
Just check it.
No. I'm talking if you're brand new in this business. I'm at the time now where, my time's more valuable than that. But right now, just checking on the VAs, making sure the cold calling, the SMS going well. But
how many VAs do you have running, brother?
We have 3, but it sounds very sexy. It's basically 2. One is just for pulling like very, very, very valuable lists, probates, fire damage properties, water shutoffs, and then the liens and the credit card debt lists. That's that VA does most of the time. They're from India. And then we got one VA doing cold calling and one doing SMS, and then that person doing a little bit of cold calling too. But most of our deals are from direct mail. That's a very, very small portion of it. But most of our deals right now is through direct mail. So I'm always checking that most of the time. But most of the time it's just burning fires all day. I'm only working about 10 hours a week in the business. And then usually I do a live at like 5 o'clock and probably make a thumbnail or something during the day. But that's really it.
Incredible.
Here's a question on the screen. What about new cold calling bans that have come out recently? Zach, you and Brent have actually addressed these a little bit in your content. Why don't we touch base on this? Because it doesn't matter how many times we answer a question. There's always new people that come into the show. So why don't we touch base on this? Brent, can I jump on you first and then we'll follow it up with Zach?
Yeah, I mean, really the biggest one, bans wise, New York went pretty heavy, right? New York wanted, just because of coronavirus and emergency situations and everything. Really, it's more of an issue with the carriers. The carriers seeing if this is a spam likely number, or are they just going to block it? Is Apple going to just block it? Right. So it's not only the hardware, but it's the carriers that are blocking some of the numbers. And then you can, without a doubt, scrub for DNC. You can do it right through the batch dialer. They do it automatically, and the litigator scrub. So I'm not exactly sure which bans they're speaking on here, or Jessica's speaking on.
She's new. She just is saying she's new. Here's Zach. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think the number one thing we got to understand is if we're TCPA compliant, which is the Telephone Communication Protections Act of 1991. Again, what we do is we're not selling you something. We're asking if you're looking to sell your property. We're not trying to sell you a product. This is completely different. This is my interpretation. I'm not a lawyer, attorney, financial advisor. I am not soliciting you to sell something, which is a little different on the TCPA, but that's something I've seen. But in my opinion, I think 10-line dialers are going to die out soon. I think 3-line dialers is probably the best.
Yeah.
I think the Trace Act is going to just, in my opinion, I think in the future for cold calling, length per call is probably going to be the number one KPI in the future to see if you're on the spam likely or not. Whatever's faster than the auto warranty deed thing, I think we'll be fine. But more length of calls, probably asking more questions than I used to in cold calling to lengthen my calls. I think that'll probably help you with more success, but I don't think it's going to get banned.
No, I mean, I think that people just assume that it's a cold call is telemarketing, or picking up the phone and asking somebody if they would consider an offer because you want to buy their property is telemarketing. It's not. I mean, not right now.
It's not.
So until it is, pick up that phone, and she's in California, so rock and roll. Yeah.
Zach, you said that your number one lead source is direct mail, and I find that awesome that we've got somebody that's really crushing it in direct mail on, because a lot of folks have kind of shied away from it just because of its cost and how prevalent people just throwing direct mail away is in today's recycle bin right beside the mailbox world. Tell us about your results in direct mail. Is there anything special that you guys are doing? Is there any hack that you can share with the Wholesale Hotline crew that maybe wants to test direct mail? What list? What does the letter look like? What does the envelope look like? And what's your frequency and cadence of you sending out your mail pieces?
Yeah, I don't think I have any of my ad copy on me right now. But what we do is we actually send offers to our sellers via postcard. That's kind of what we do. It's very unique. It gives us about a 2% response rate, which is insane.
Which is double what normally it is.
Bro, that's 10 times what Phoenix is.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that's basically what we do. The reason why is because in Port St. Lucie, for the average motivated seller, they're probably going to get 7 postcards a week. And what most of the time is, hey, let's get the first one. Let's call this person. Let's call the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh person. Either the first person that goes in the appointment wins, or the last. And that's how it's been for the past 18 years in Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie is roughly about the size of Fort Lauderdale. It's double the size of West Palm Beach. It's a big market. But the issue with it is it's super saturated. So we decided to give offers on postcards, and that's changed the game for us. We're always the first card to get actually called on, and it's helped us a lot. And speed in this business is what's been giving us the most success. Our acquisitions guy will run out there as soon as we can, get the property locked up, and that's what we do. But we mail to any sign of distress in the city, in our market, mostly high equity, a lot of vacants. And that's where a lot of our success has been. We're just doing blanket marketing with the direct mail, and we go very niche on the SMS and cold calling.
who's determining what the offer price is that you guys are putting on the postcard? Is that a high number, a real number, a low number, a Zestimate? Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
And
So
how do you automate that so that you can get enough letters out there so that's not your big bottleneck?
yeah. So most of the offers are going to be way higher than I'm going to put a contract on for. The beautiful part about Port St. Lucie is every single property has a really good ARV, but none of the houses are good. They all go through a massive hurricane every 6 to 7 years. They all need new roofs. The stucco's always messed up. There's always mildew. It always needs to be updated. There's a lot of old people in Port St. Lucie. I mean, Florida has been dubbed God's waiting room for a very long time. There's a lot of old people in Florida. And they don't like to take care of the properties too much. So that's the cool part. So in Florida, basically, we give the offers slightly below Zillow. So the key to the metric is we spent a lot of money developing an algorithm for it, where the offer price is lower net than if you used a realtor, but higher if you went with the average wholesaler. So I want to filter out people that just want to get 94% of the Zillow, basically the Zillow minus the realtor fee, minus closing costs, and that's what they net. That's what offer pad numbers. It's terrible. It's iBuyer numbers. I ain't doing that. So we do slightly below that, where they have to accept that they're going to get lower than if they do with a realtor net. If they're okay with that, let's have a conversation. And let's say the ARV is 200 and we offer at 180. And they call us to like, oh, well, I'll take it 180. I'm like, perfect. Let's go to the property. We go to the property. Like, okay, 180. I'm ready to buy it. Remember, we're assuming everything's okay. Well, the roof's bad here. The roofing's bad. The kitchen needs updating. And they're like, well, yeah, I kind of understood you're not going to get that 180. I know that offer was subject to a condition review. And then we basically talk and we go down from there. Sometimes the offer price, we'll just lock it up and the property's immaculate. But we're assuming we give everyone the benefit of the doubt on the postcard that the property's all renovated. If it's not, then we have to come down on price. We make sure we tell them before we go on the appointment so it's not a bait and switch. But the most important part about that is once you get that call to the acquisitions person on the direct mail, it's locked up from there. We're talking about your dog. We're talking about the Miami Dolphins. We're talking about fishing. Like the report is being set instantly, where I'm going out there as soon as anyone else and we're locking it up. We condition the seller before we go on the appointment and we get that thing locked up, because if we don't, there's 5 wholesalers behind us every single time.
Awesome.
Jamil, I think this one's a good question for you. D'Angelo says, no buyers are biting at my wholesale deal. Can you give us a couple of reasons why that might be the case and what?
There are only 2 reasons why.
Perfect. Give us both those reasons.
The first reason is, D'Angelo, you're either marketing it too high because you locked it up too high, or you're wanting your assignment fee or your profit to be too big. So what I would do is really understand, are you locked in a good deal? Do you actually have a deal? The second thing, D'Angelo, that you didn't tell us, it's in Michigan. Okay, so what part of Michigan? So there's parts of Michigan that have a lot of investor activity. Then there's parts of Michigan where there's really no one buying anything. You want to be where the buyers are, because that's what's going to bring liquidity to your deal. If you are trying to go and market in an area because you don't want to run into other wholesalers and you don't want the competition, so you're marketing to an area of Michigan that may have less wholesalers and less competition, that's also going to mean there's less buyers. So I want to find out what part of Michigan that deal is in. And then lastly, D'Angelo, where did you build your buyers list? Who are the people that are on your list? Are you effectively reaching them? Do they know you? Are they expecting your email? Do they put priority on your email? Are you going to spam? There's a lot of people, a lot of wholesalers that have amazing deals that just get a list from another wholesaler and then they email their deals to that list, not understanding opt-ins, not understanding how to really optimize their email platforms and how to create relationships with those buyers. And unfortunately, they end up in the spam folder. So you might have an amazing deal, D'Angelo, but if no one sees it, guess what? No one's going to buy it. Yep. So those are typically the reasons why your deal isn't selling. I'd love to be able to help you comp that and take a look at that for you, D'Angelo. Send me a DM and we can talk offline at a different date, and I can help you with understanding, and even connect you to a couple of Astro flippers that crush it out in Michigan. Hopefully we can help you get that moved.
How many calls do you think he should be making to cash buyers, Jamil, to get that thing in front of them on a daily basis?
50 a day.
50?
50. Look, that's the magic number. If you want to make it, if you want to connect to sellers, if you really want to get a deal direct to seller, have 50 conversations. If you want to connect and you want to get deals from realtors, have 50 conversations. If you want to sell your deal today, have 50 conversations. If you can have 50 conversations in a day, you won't lose at what you're trying to accomplish. You can't.
So you don't think I can just sell a deal on a list and just my email just sells the deal for me?
I really wish you could, you know, I mean, look, if people weren't, the problem is that D'Angelo, buyers are busy, right? They're in the field. I mean, Pace and I are fixing and flipping 10 houses right now. We don't even have time to breathe, right? That alone with wholesaling as many houses as we're wholesaling, running our teams, running our coaching platforms, doing hotline, all this stuff. I don't have time to be in my email, scouring the email to see what deal has been sent to me today that might be viable. And so what I really need is somebody to curate all of the spam, all of the emails that are coming into my email, and be my curator that's going to hand walk me the deal. You know, that's why so many Astro flippers are successful, because the buyers, they're actually getting deals from other wholesalers, maybe at a little bit of a lower price, but they're going into their promotional email box and no one's looking at it. You have to be the person that's going to relentlessly communicate and hand deliver opportunities to people. They will respect you for it. They will pay you for it. And they will rely on you for it. And that's how you make yourself indispensable in this game.
I cold called Josiah off of his LinkedIn page, Jamil. That's how I even found out about you. That's how, I mean, we connected much later in other channels, but that's how I got into that world. That's how I got into Josiah's world, which trickled out. I called him from LinkedIn because he said he was a real estate investor. I just called every fiend. I put in real estate investor and I type like this too, you know, because I'm like 1,000 years old.
Bro,
now.
you still type like that. Nothing's changed. Shit.
Yeah, no, I type like this and I go, oh, Phoenix real estate investor. It took me 38 seconds to type it. Came right up. Boom. There's Josiah's face and about 50 other people. And oh, by the way, 12 minutes after that conversation, I sold that deal to Josiah, who probably sold it to Jamil, who probably sold it to Zach Keeps.
You know how it be.
Zach, I made $12,000 in 12 minutes on a deal that I thought was tight and didn't really know, because I went on LinkedIn, typed real estate investor, his phone number's in there. I called it, asked him if he did deals in this area. He said, absolutely. And boom, he called me back 12 minutes later, said, I'll take it.
Amazing. But you took the time to create the relationship. You took the time to curate the opportunity and bring it, hand deliver it to the person you know could make the decision. That's something that people aren't willing to do. They blast and dash. They blast and dash, and they waiting for the phone to ring, because let's be honest, and I want to segue into what Emilio has to say here, because Zach, when your name came up in Wholesale Hotline, and we had a private text, Brent, Pace, and myself, and I'm like, I love Zach. Zach stuffs it down gurus' throats all day long. He may or may not hate us. I'm not sure what his opinion is on us. I know you love us, but again, I wanted to talk about it because I really appreciate the fact that you go ham and you go hard on people that you think are predatory or are taking advantage of folks. To not be negative, because this is not a place for negativity. We don't want to call out people or make anyone feel bad. But talk to us a little bit about this, Zach, because you seem to have a real opinion about the educational space and what people are selling and what people are doing and actual results. And I'd love to get your opinion of it in front of the whole Wholesale Hotline audience, and for Brent, Pace, and myself to get an understanding of where your stance is and who you're with and why you're not with others. What's up?
Yeah, of course. One quick tip for D'Angelo. D'Angelo, if you're having a problem selling your deal, if you're local, go to your local real estate auction and go pitch that deal to 20 people there and just see.
Yeah,
And do the people that actually put their name on the paper. Go talk to those people real quick.
Foreclosure auctions are going on right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Florida, so they don't care about anything in Florida. But yeah. So to answer your question, Jamil, it's my personal philosophy. So Rick, my dad, I'm going to say his name a lot. He has spent tens and tens of thousands of dollars learning this business. He's an OG from the early 2000s days where the knowledge was hoarded and you had to spend so much money learning wholesaling real estate. Not even getting one-on-one mentorship. It's just to get the CD packet and the fun stuff. He has a bunch of, I think, Pace, you would appreciate this, like the Wendy Patton lease option stuff. You could not learn lease options in the early 2000s without spending a fortune from like a Wendy Patton CD. So she's an OG also. Fast forward to when I started when I was 17 years old. YouTube is not even what it's at now. There's no Brent Daniels giving all the free info. There's no Pace giving free info. There's no Jamil giving free info. Like, if you don't know how to comp deals, just watch Jamil's show. It blows me away. If you want to learn cold calling, Brent's got the free script. If you want to learn how to do a subject to, legally, you should probably get a lawyer stuff, but Pace has a lot of free stuff. So
why get a lawyer when I bring the lawyer to you?
It's true.
We had our subject to attorney on Wholesale Hotline 2 weeks ago, so we'll bring him to you.
Awesome. So basically where I'm at is Rick had to spend a bunch of money. When I started out, the only way I could have gotten to where I'm at now without having my dad, Rick, literally help me so much is I would have to pay for a course. I had no money. And I truly, being at that point, I don't believe someone should put a certain amount of money on a credit card and go into debt to learn this business. I don't think anyone should go into debt to learn, go to college. It's just the same principle. We're not talking going from $100K to $1 million a year. Most likely some mentorship's probably there. If you're trying to scale up from a legit person, I'm talking from 0 to 100K. I don't think you should spend any money learning this business. And so my personal opinion is I think it should be free. So I go live 4 days a week and I do 3 videos a day on the Flip with Rick YouTube channel, on the Zach Ginn YouTube channel. I do 7 videos also there. And I try to teach everyone how to do wholesaling real estate, make 100K a year absolutely for free. That's my opinion. I don't think courses should be sold. That's my personal opinion. I don't guys, you've been in this business way longer than me, all 3 of you guys, and you've sold courses before and you help a lot of people out. I am not discrediting any of your guys out there, but it's just my personal opinion. I try to teach everyone for free. I'm kind of the guy, hey, you got no money? Come to me. I will teach you. Literally I will answer every single Instagram DM with a voice message for at least 30 seconds, and I will help you with whatever. If someone watching this right now needs free one-on-one on me, every Thursday, if you're on my Wholesaling Houses for Real Facebook group, I'll give you a StreamYard link, hop on my live. I'll talk to you one-on-one for as long as you want. I went 3 hours last week. It's probably going to get a lot longer. I will give everything.
Oh, it's going to get long after this one. We got like 500 people watching nearly live. And it's just continues to tick upwards here. So Zach, people are loving everything you're saying. And you know what? It's funny. The 3 of us agree with you. That's why we give it away. In all honesty, the people that end up joining our mentorships are in there to get a higher level understanding. They're in there because now they want to scale, because they want to do more. They want to build a different business. But you're absolutely right. And I think the reason why we have been as successful in that space is because we have been giving it away. This show is on episode 77. That's 77 weeks of us being here every Monday night trying to deliver the goods for no cost, right? And so I appreciate your opinion and I appreciate your position, Zach, and I think you're right. And so do the 2 gentlemen above me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that there's a difference between courses and coaching, though.
Correct.
I really do. A coach is somebody, and I see what you're doing, Zach. You're essentially being your dad to everybody that you can. And I think that's wildly rewarding. I think you were blessed with a dad that went through all the courses, went through all the training, went through all this experience, was able to guide you and support you more than anything on your path, right? And you're doing that for other people. And I think that that's just the heart that you have, a servant's heart. And that's fantastic. I think that there is a difference, though, in my opinion, with the people that want a return on an investment in a coaching. People
Right.
that spend $5, $6, $7, $10,000. We're not talking 100,000 like some people out there that are just ridiculous. Well, who knows? Whatever. To each their own. But somebody that spends money wants a return on their investment, which means that they're going to actually do the work. So I had this conversation with Tom Kroll when I was first starting out, Zach. I had the same. I was like, I'll just go on the podcast and I'll just spit for free. I'll give the whole coaching for free, everything. And he said, you are doing everybody a huge disservice, because everybody is going to, the people that don't invest in themselves are not going to get a return. They're just going to stop. They're just going to stop. And I thought that was interesting. I don't know if I truly believe it 100%, but I think that there is a big difference between free Facebook groups and Facebook groups that are filled with people that are in a coaching program, people that have access to coaches, people that get constant support and get constant recognition and feel part of something. They squat up with people that they never would have before because they've been thrown together in an environment where they all invested in themselves and they all take it seriously. Being surrounded around people that take it seriously, it's just a different ball. It's just a different situation. It's a different group. And because of that, I love coaching, and I love that there is a barrier to entry to coaching on some level. But I'll tell you what, I mean, Zach, I go live all 3.5 hours a week, bro. Like I'll answer anybody's question. But if you want access, if you want to be around the coach, if you want, one of the 5 people that you spend the most time with professionally in your life, in your group, I think it's smart to get into coaching. I've always been in it, and it's always been successful for me.
This is an interesting topic for me because this kind of trickles down from Tom Kroll to then Brent Daniels to then me. About 2, 3, 4 years ago, I would drive people around in my Prius for free every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would do is I would go on my Instagram. This would be before I ever decided or thought I could become a coach, right? So Brent Daniels, you got Jamil, Steve, everybody watched me. I would post on my Instagram stories and I'd say, hey, whoever wants to go on appointments with me today, meet me at Circle K at 6 a.m. And the first time I did it, I had 3 or 4 people show up. And within 3 months, I had 60 people show up at Circle K at 6 o'clock in the morning. Right? Then after a long time of doing that, I became known as the guy that would just take people on appointments, not only to sellers, but also to my attorney's office, my title office. We'd go raise private capital together, go walk construction projects, would do all these things. Brent Daniels calls me and he goes, man, you are doing these people a disservice. I'm like, what do you mean, man? I'm helping all these people for free. And he then says this thing to me. He says, people pay attention to things they pay for, whether it's $1 or $1 million. They pay attention to things they pay for. And I was like, I don't know what you mean, man. I don't know what you mean. He says, well, go back and count all the people that drove around in your Prius with you that absorbed that free information. What percentage of those people are now living the life that they sought out to live? And I go back and I'm like, holy crap. Like most of these people didn't even they saw what the business looked like and all of a sudden never heard from them ever again. So I'm curious about your thought. There was actually a comment on the screen, Zach, where people say, hey, you know what? Unfortunately, people say people very rarely pay attention or take free information as seriously as when they psychologically commit to something, even if it's, for example, here's a difference. Forget about the $1,000 mentorships. Forget about the $100,000 mentorships, right? There's these ones that charge people $20,000, $50,000, whatever. Forget about those. How likely are you going to read a book that is given to you versus a book that you go into the store and you buy? There's a psychological difference between those two things. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with you. I tell everyone they have to buy in with me. They're just not giving me the money. When I tell the people, this is my opinion, you're going to spend $1,000 on a coach. I want you to take that $1,000, skip trace a list, and buy a Mojo dialer. That's your buy-in. You just spent money.
Love
now
that.
Watch me. That's their buy-in. That's what I say. Use that money, spend it on your own marketing, investing in yourself. Education's great. I think spend $1,000 on a Mojo list with a high equity or something that's very motivated, and calling that gives you all the tools you want. Hey, got $1,000, spend that on gas money, drive for dollars, cold call. That's
I
your
love
buy-in.
this. I love this. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. Okay. And they call me and they ask me a question that I answered to them probably 25 times over the course of the last year. Okay. And the reason why this call was different is because now they're actually finally, after this whole entire time, they finally took action. They have a deal. That deal is posing problems for them that they now have to overcome. So I'm on the phone with this person literally a couple of days ago, and I go, isn't it interesting that the information that you were absorbing last year was interesting, but now that you have taken action, it has converted from being interesting to important. So what I love that you're doing, Zach, is you're getting people to buy in and take a pound of flesh out. Are you serious about this business? Stop consuming the content. Consume the content, take the action. Come back for answers to the problems that you create. Because that's essentially what we're doing all day long, is we're either A, finding problems that sellers have, or B, finding problems we have in our business. And that's when information that you're absorbing is no longer interesting. It's now important. So I love that you're doing that. That's super smart.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Again, people are paying me with the most valuable asset. I know very young people don't understand this. This is something only rich people understand, but the most valuable asset's not money, it's time. And I go live for a lot. I do a lot of content. So people are paying me in their most valuable asset, even if they don't know it or not. That is the most valuable asset, in my opinion. So it's crazy. I think if you're spending time even watching the show, just understand you're investing. What is it? 2 out of 24 hours, 2 out of 16 hours you're awake of your life today watching this. Do something about it.
Here's a question for you. So you are saying you have people do a buy-in of $1,000 and buy, skip trace a list, pull the list, get a dialer, and then start cold calling, right?
Mm.
Are you giving that? Is there like a secret sauce to a list that you're giving people? Is there some magical list out there that nobody knows about, only you know about? What are you telling people what list are you telling people to pull?
You go to the government and you ask for all the government lists. I don't know. I'm terming it a government list. Every type of list you can get from the government. Super motivated sellers. Probates, code violations, fire damage properties, water shutoffs, tax liens, divorces. Go to the clerk of the court and just pull everything. Credit card debt lists, anything you can get for free. You're going to have to spend your money. Spend your money or your time doing it. Get a VA to pull it, or you're going to do it yourself. And use True People Search if you got no money. But I mean, batch skip tracing is where it's at. I say government lists. If you have more money, use PropStream, use batch for your stuff. But if you got no money, government lists are where it's at right now.
So you're saying that once the government gets involved in these sellers' situations, they got a major problem.
Oh, yeah.
Go through that list one more time for people that are brand new.
Yeah. So it'd be probates, water shutoffs. Most cities don't have it. Again, I'm in Florida. It's doing well for us. Most cities aren't shutting off water yet. Utility list, lien list if you want, tax lien lists, fire damage properties. You can't go to the clerk of the court for that. You have to call your local firehouse. They're going to say no 5 times. You're just going to keep calling them until it's so annoying. You're like, okay, here's the list. I'm telling you, you're going to be the only wholesaler in your city doing that. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Those are basically the list, tax lien lists. But
is there an easy website to find those, or where do I go to find those?
Fire damage, you go straight to the fire house. Code violations, you go to the code enforcement department. They love me from my bandit sign days. I still have I think a $5,000 outstanding they have for me. They don't know who I am though. They hate me there. Water shutoffs, utility department, and probates, tax liens and divorce are probably on the clerk of the court or the court magic, whatever it is in your city or county.
Okay, so it looks like some people that follow you know about you pulling credit card debt list. Do you have a credit card debt list? Where do you pull that?
That is basic. I call it the other list. I pull that from PropStream. If you go to the other tab and you manually go through them on the other lists, either someone has an IRS debt lien. I figure out from the deals that I do, I look up all my sellers like a post-mortem, was it a autopsy of, I don't know how to call it.
Analysis?
A detective.
Post-deal analysis. I look at that seller and say, hey, what's going on? I say, wow, this massive $60,000 deal. This guy had an IRS lien of $15K. And that's why he wanted to sell. And I keep looking and I go to other on PropStream. It has the IRS liens on there, credit card debt list liens, like private mortgages. I don't like mechanics liens too much, but I just call it the credit card debt list lien, credit card debt list, because that's where most of them are. And they're pretty good, and they're high interest. So the guy get paid off soon. So that's been a killer list for me. You could go under the cloak of the court and find it, but I just go to PropStream and just do it because it's easier for me. But you can do it on the cloak of the court.
What about driving for dollars?
Get in the car, get it. That is one of my favorite lists because no one can buy that list. You got to earn it. I love it. Driving for dollars it's amazing.
Yeah, because
Jamil just closed a driving for dollars lead. We just had a driving for dollars lead. Jamil closed it on the seller's back patio.
You done.
No, I didn't close it.
Yes, he did. He sat next to me and he supported me as we both.
I sat next to Pace, and every time in the middle of the negotiation, I would pat Pace's forehead for him a little bit because he was sweating.
He came to the corner. You poured water in his mouth. Yeah,
not because the seller was giving him sweats. It's because it was 119 degrees out there. But yeah, we Pace closed a great driving for dollars. Actually, oddly enough, it's gonna make it to our little TV show, so that's fun. But yeah, close the seller live right there on camera. Dope.
Hey, we missed it real quick. We had somebody that joined the 50K club here on the side.
I saw that. It was up there. I'm so sorry.
I want to say congratulations. I am telling you, there is something magical that happens when you hit a 50K plus deal that changes your brain forever. Remember, you used to look and you're like, how do people buy that stuff? And how do they get those watches and those cars and those houses and this investment portfolio? And then you get a 50K deal and you're like, oh, baby. Yeah, I am on my way. I've got this. It makes you think a lot bigger. All of those W-2 checks that you get for $700, $1,300, $2,200 every 2 weeks, and you get 50 grand wired into your account and you're staring at that for the first time on your phone or computer. You're like, oh, it's all changed. Congratulations, John. There you go, brother.
That's amazing. Can I jump on a question here real quick? Sergio, who's a sub-2 student, has asked this question maybe 17 times. This guy is the definition of persistent. Good to see you in here, Sergio. He says, how do you go about giving your price once you have all the info and you're ready to talk budget? So what's funny about Sergio is he'll come in here and ask questions about things that we covered literally on Saturday. I called sellers for my students and for my own leads for 10 hours straight, okay, on a Saturday. Sergio, where were you, bro? Why were you not hanging out with us on Saturday? We had 300 students, maxed out Zoom, and I didn't see your name in there. Ooh. And I showed you, and you've seen it 100 times, but this is a great question for Zach. Zach, how do you go about giving your price once you have all the info and you're ready to talk budget? Now, the challenge with this question and the challenge with answering it is that when you're a true salesperson and a true consultant or a trusted advisor is probably the best way to describe it. Every seller is a little bit different. The flow of the conversation, the context of what we're talking about, the tone of your voice, everything changes depending on who your conversation is with. But Zach, let's try and come up with a rule of thumb for everybody so they can write it down in their notes, follow instructions, take action. How do you go about giving your price once you have all the information and you're ready to talk budget?
Okay. So there's a quick one I can do and a very long one. So the quickest one is find out how much your cash buyer is going to pay for the house. That's a very short one to say, but I basically find the ARV minus repairs minus the discount that my cash buyer is paying. I have cash buyers that will pay me 90% of the deal, right? Because it's a crazy market. And I hate to call them like slumlords who are at like 80%. That's what they're at. So I can multiply it by there. Hey, my cash buyer is going to be $100,000 for this house. That's what I know. Now is the fun game. Now I can decide how much I want to make. Do I want to make 60 on this? Do I want to make 20? Like, what do I want? Again, as a true salesman, I love sales. I love this business. I never want to say the price first. So that's a red flag. You're going to do two reasons here. You're going to say, hey, how much do you need to sell the property for? You build a rapport, get ready to it. Hey, condition their head. How would it feel if I was right now able to buy this property from you? You can move to Utah with your family. You can go in the mountains like we joke about. And then how would it feel you can finally do that and I can buy this property? Just imagine that. What price were you at if I can get this all done for you and we can buy this in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month? Shut up, zip it. And either they're going to tell you the price and then, you negotiate down from there. What I found is when you say that, they will say a price way lower than you were willing to even say, like the scariest, like, oh my God, if I offer them 40, they're going to kick me out. They'd be like, can you do 40? You will be shocked. You will be paralyzed. But sometimes you get it from someone who said they read like a Donald Trump book about sales and say, never say the price first. They're going to say, well, I don't know how much I want to sell it for. And that's where everyone gets in a corner. And then they give out their price and then they make 10K in a deal. And they're like, Zach, I don't know how to make 50K in a deal. I always hit them with this. This is what I teach everyone. Ask them in a joking fashion. Okay, you don't know how much you want to sell this property for? I should give the price. Yeah, you came to the house. You should give me the price. Fine. I mean, Mr. Seller, would you sell the house for $1? No. Well, what if I offered you $1? We can write the paperwork right now for $1. No, I don't want to sell for $1. I want to sell this for 50. Oh, okay. Then you get the price out of them. You negotiate from there and you get it locked up. That's the best way I found out. Just never say the price first. You will always make more money doing that. Sometimes you're an old lady. She's 7 years old. Her family's all in Michigan and she lives in Florida and she wants to move. At that point, I give them a price because they generally don't even know what the property's worth. They bought the house in 1962. And then after that, I'll call the grandchildren and say, hey, I'm looking to buy Sheila's house here for 120. Is this something you're comfortable with? With an elderly seller, I'm always like that. But if someone who's like 40 years old, you hit them with that line. It's helped me the most. And it's the reason why our average deal size is 40K.
And Zach, is it always them moving to Utah?
Oh, everyone wants.
I was just thinking, why does he have a bunch of Mormon sellers? Like, what's going on?
I just want to know, is that the trick? It's like, hey, wouldn't it be amazing if you could just get the fuck out of your house and move to Utah?
We have
I like how he threw out that he talked to 40-year-olds. He's not talking to 40-year-olds in Port St. Lucie. I know that.
Oh,
so good. That's so good, Zach. So good. I love it.
But I say Utah for everyone hearing because it's in their motivation. Hey, I want to move to Michigan. I want to move back to New York. I want to move back to the Bronx. If someone tells me they're from Brooklyn, we're talking about old Brooklyn. We're talking about the Yankees, whatever baseball team they like. That's where I'm doing the situation. But again, I change it every single time. You go back to Phoenix. That's why I say Utah. It's whatever their motivation is. I paint the picture in their head. They're imagining it. They're like, oh my gosh, I can finally get rid of this property. That's how we do well.
Incredible. Guys, we've got about 500 of you on the show right now live, and I'm not seeing that many likes. So do us a favor. If you're loving what Zach and Pace and Brent and I have been talking about tonight, this has been an incredible show. Zach is full of knowledge and full of spice, man. He's just tearing it up over here. He's got it going on, guys. A big inspiration, beautiful friend of the show. He's incredible. Do us a favor and love this. Make sure you're doing that. Hit that button. If you're not subscribed to all of our YouTubes, subscribe to our YouTubes, and let's keep it rolling.
Can you put that one up there, Pace, that Connor? How do we respond to buyers that want to negotiate big assignment fees?
Oh, yeah.
So that, Connor, this took me a long time to figure out, and it's like kind of like next level. But what I want you to do is when somebody says that, just say no.
No.
Seriously.
Nancy Reagan.
Here's the thing. The reason they're trying to attack the amount that you're making, there's a couple things going on there, and I'll let Jamil just, knock it out of the park with this softball for them. But it's listen, if you have enough cash buyers and you're being loud and you're making those 50 calls and you're talking to enough people, you can build a healthy tension with your cash buyers where they know not to go into negotiation mode, not to go into how much are you making mode, not to go into whatever, because they will lose that deal. The reason you worry about stuff like that is because you don't have other cash buyers competing for that opportunity. If it truly is a deal and you're not just going bananas with the pricing and it just doesn't make any sense, if it's truly a hot deal and you're reaching out to as many cash buyers or real estate agents that are listing flips, or as Zach said, going down to the foreclosure auction and talking to all those guys, after all of that, you should have multiple offers on your deals and be able to sell those properties. Jamil, do you guys ever,
we always assume that the reason they're asking is because they don't want it to record at the lower number. So what we'll do is we'll respond with, I'm 1,000% sure that you're not trying to dictate how we feed our families and how we keep the doors open here based off of our profit margins. So I imagine the reason you don't want to see a $53,000 assignment fee is because you want it to record at a higher number just in case you have any lender issues in the future once you go to the property. So what I'll do is I will switch this to a double escrow, and that will eliminate that situation all in itself. However, understand that it probably costs you an additional couple of $1,000s for that to happen. So it's up to you how you want to play it.
Love it. And you're right. That is a big factor for some people that are having issues with appraisers, seeing the original purchase price and saying, "Hey, wait, why is it so much more?" You can always communicate and say, "Hey, listen, I bought it for this. This is my closing statement of what I purchased it for the cash buyers." But it doesn't look as good to the banks if they see it bought at 200 and sell for 550 in 93 days.
Right.
Because they're tense. They want to make sure it's a legit value.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Awesome. I've got a question for the group. So Tuesday night, I get one of my students, Ted Miller, comes into our Zoom and he says, "Hey, Pace, I've got a problem on a potential sub-2 deal." I go, "Okay, great. Tell me the situation." And he goes, "Well, I have this lady. Her name is Jacqueline out of North Carolina. She's 67 years old. Her husband just passed away, and she got under contract with a wholesaler. The wholesaler actually convinced her not to list her property, which she would have had the time to sell her house. She moves all of her stuff out of her house with the last money she has. She puts it into a U-Haul. Now she's a 67-year-old single lady sleeping on a sleeping bag in her home. 2 days before close of escrow, she's freaking out because she doesn't even have money to buy groceries. And she's wondering, where is this guy? Where is this guy? Where is this guy? It is amazing to me because I hear people talking about the regulation of the industry coming, right? And it's these exact situations that I feel like the real estate boards and the realtors have a very strong argument against wholesaling and forcing it to become regulated, which I'm actually in favor of it becoming regulated. But my question is this: what are your guys' thoughts? What is causing wholesalers? Now, we ended up buying the deal. I bought the deal sub-2. I'm actually giving the lady $15,000 in cash, taking her house over sub-2. It's going to be a great Airbnb. Super excited about it. However, we help her out of a situation. We've sent her money before we even closed escrow just to help her out. I'm wondering, what is it about wholesalers and wholesaling that is causing people to get into these types of contracts where they have no purpose or they have no reason to be in these contracts? The ARV of the house was 200. He gave her 196 on the purchase price.
Didn't learn how to comp the deal, dog. He had no idea.
That's what I want to understand. I want to understand, is it truly coming down to just comping, do you think? Or do you think there's maybe a list of reasons? Because my first gut feel was like, why is he not watching Straight Outta Compton with Jamil? I send everybody there. It's the greatest show. It's the only great, comping show I've ever seen. So is it just comping, Brent and Zach, or is there something else causing these wholesalers?
Communication. It's communication.
Let's walk through that. Unpack that for me.
Well, and by the way, listen, this isn't just wholesaling, by the way. Okay. Like number one industry that people have the most complaints, auto industry. Second, real estate.
Freaking great point.
Real estate. Real estate is number two as the worst at communicating with customers. And that is for mostly real estate agents. All right. So it's just a weird, because we have this timeline that it takes, this escrow period that it takes to close a deal. You know, some people just go silent and disappear. I think that if there's over communication, if that wholesaler was to say, hey, listen, I think I made a mistake on my pricing. I can do the deal at this price at 130,000. I can't do it at 195. And they say no, then at least there's communication there and you can part and get out of there. It is the lack of communication. People calling, people texting, people emailing, trying to get hold of the wholesaler, and they're not responding because of whatever reason. Maybe they're doing something else, or maybe they're just, they feel like they're going to lose the deal if they have a conversation with them, or somebody's going to be mad, or somebody's going to be, kind of just in a bad mood type of thing. Communication. It's communication. If they communicated, it would have been fine. If not, because they didn't, that's where you get in trouble.
Sam, I just want to say, realtors aren't, honestly, they're not terrible, brother. They're misinformed and they're undereducated. They don't teach how to comp at licensing school. They don't teach agents how to comp houses.
They don't teach sales.
They don't teach sales. They don't teach
customer service. So
how does that correlate? It's an interesting thing. They're not terrible. They're amazing people. They're just like any other group of people. There's good ones, there's bad ones, there's all of them. But there's a lot of really amazing real estate agents out there. They're just undereducated and misinformed.
Zach, what do you think, bud?
Have you guys ever talked to an 18-year-old realtor fresh out of real estate school?
Yeah, plenty. I hire them.
Do they know any more about real estate or ethics when it comes to real estate in general than
all they understand is how to stay out of jail?
Yes. So
that's the only thing they know. They walk out of real estate school with how not to go to prison.
Exactly. That is my opinion on regulation. I think you go through real estate school is not going to change you. Being beholden to a board is not going to change you. My personal opinion, I don't think you should be licensed for wholesaling. That's a government regulation topic. I'm not getting into politics. My political party is the wholesaling party. But overall, I just don't think we should have regulation in it. It comes back to unethical people. If you don't have ethics in this business, you should not be in it. I tell every single one of our sellers, like I instill it in our company. You tell the seller, you will make more money with a realtor. You should go with a realtor. If they say, I understand that, but I want a quick, easy cash sale. If they understand that, we'll go forward. You lying to a seller saying, if you go with the realtor, you'll lose more money. That's when you're lying. That's not good business. You can't regulate ethics. Right?
Yep.
There's always going to be bad business that's technically legal. I truly think if you have ethics in this business, there's no need for regulation, and real estate school is not going to teach you good ethics. It just comes back to your morals, your characters, and your values as a human being. I'm not going to get into karma, but I truly believe if you do good onto people, good or bad will come onto you. It comes back tenfold. So that's my opinion on it.
True.
Yeah, you see that.
Did this guy really say this? If you are not cheating, you are not trying.
I think he's joking.
He's got to be joking. He's got to be joking.
For sure.
I think he's just playing. He's been commenting. He's been cool.
I've seen his comments. They're actually, he's had a bunch of funny ones, but I was like, there's no way he's serious about that. So Zach, tell me, what does your business look like today? Are you going on appointments anymore? Are you closing the deals? Or are you fully automated? You're not involved anymore.
Basically 2021, I've been through so many acquisitions managers. It's been turn and burn. I finally teach someone, they do good, then they want more money.
Or they take it from you and go start their own thing.
Oh, I know that has not happened because they've all failed. Because we do it like the Army when they do research projects where they will segment you, where You're only doing this part of the research, so you don't learn the whole thing. So what we do is we teach acquisitions. You don't learn marketing. You don't learn dispo. You only learn this. But again, with wholesale hotline and education, and a lot of them try their own thing, they fail. So currently I was closing all deals in 2020, and eventually I found someone, good acquisitions person through Rick's network. And they've been a blessing in our lives, and they've helped us close all the deals for me, where I've been able to do more time helping people out. Really cut my hours to like 20 hours a week to really 10 hours a week of work. But our operation is mostly direct mail, a little bit of niche SMS and niche cold calling, goes into Podio, and those calls from direct mail go to our acquisitions manager. Our acquisitions manager runs out to the deal fast as possible, gets contract signed. We'll wholesale most of them. If you don't know, that is basically we'll just close on the deal and then throw it back on the market. We'll spend about $1,000 fixing it up. Usually put carpet and paint, and we throw it back on the market. And it sells for over asking every time. It's crazy. I'm thinking, okay, this property is going to sell for $220, and that's insane. Zillow's at $200. Let's list it for $230, and then I get someone from California bidding $240, not even seeing the house. It's disgusting. So most of our deals are just wholesales right now. It's Florida. Everyone's coming to Florida. There's no state income tax. A lot of New Yorkers are coming back. It's doing well. So most of it's wholesale, and then if we do wholesaling, our network's really good. And I'll have my second VA that does the light cold call cash sales in Port St. Lucie. Not a lot. And then that's basically our dispo. And then I'm working on some more JV deals. I might do 1 JV deal or 2 JV deals a month. I'm trying to scale that up right now. Just with the wholesaling. People just give me deals, especially
I know a guy who can help you with that, bro.
I know.
Hey, Zach, who's answering your calls for direct mail? How quick are those calls being answered? How fast are the turnarounds to getting out to the appointment? Can you break down the direct mail process for us?
Yeah. I mean, we send the mail out. We send in a month, it'd be a batch every single week, Monday and Friday. So we split that out in 2. So the marketing is consistent.
Same houses, Monday and Friday?
No, different houses.
No.
So
Okay.
I'll have a list. And then for that week, I'll split it 1 batch on Monday, 1 on Tuesday. So it's really 8 batches for the whole list for the month. And then we'll send that out. Our acquisitions person is the first point on the call.
What are you guys spending on that per month?
About $12,000 for direct mail.
Okay,
we get very good rates. Probably equates to 15 for the average person.
Okay. Let's call it $15,000 in mail. How many times does the phone ring for $15,000?
About 35. Let me just get a calculator. 2% of about 35,000. It's about 700 calls a month. Most of them is like, hey, put me off the list. What's this offer about? With an extra % of a call back, you get a lot more of the
anger.
Weirdos. Yeah, it's the way I could really describe it. So really it equates to a real number of real leads. And actually it's like 1.5. You get more tire kickers. From there, it will probably end up being 100 true leads. I would say someone who's actually looking to sell their house, they're not trying to get for the most money. We'll end up doing around 16 to 20 appointments for the week. And these are people legit. In this market right now, we try to get everyone. We just want to have a conversation with you because you might not be ready now, but you'll remember us when you're looking to sell in the future of, hey, acquisitions manager, he loves the Mets. We talked about fishing. He's a great person. I saw a picture of his kids. He's a great guy. They'll give us the call back when they have other calls and we'll get that deal. It's helped us a lot. Then we'll probably get about 6 deals a month from that. 4 really good wholesale deals around $40K, a couple wholesale deals, 15, 20. And then we're just trying to work on the JVs right now. But that's kind of where the direct mail all kind of puts in together.
What's your cost per contract?
$3K.
Direct mail.
It's about $3,000 right now. I mean, we could niche it out, but we do such a big blanket approach. If you basically have equity in Port St. Lucie, you're getting a call from us. A postcard from us. It's about $3K. But our spreads are amazing. So
that cost per contract for direct mail is incredible as well, dude. Like you're doing it right.
Yeah, national average is like $6,000 to $7,000.
Yeah, Phoenix is 20.
Woo.
No, Phoenix is like 12 to 15, but you get 700 calls a month. So your acquisition manager, is he answering them live or just calling back off of a recording?
Live. There's 7 postcards a week. We need the advantage. Every piece of advantage I can have, we call them live. A lot of them's not good. It ends up being 100 actual good conversation leads, but it's technically 700. But a lot of them is just tire kickers because someone give you a real offer on their house.
So your acquisition manager's taking 20 to 25 calls a day.
Correct.
Is that all he does?
That's basically all he does. And he goes on appointments.
Got it. If he's on an appointment, who answers?
It would go to me, and then it'll go to voicemail.
Got it. Because, I mean, that's crazy. 20 inbound calls a day is bananas. 3 or 4 calls, and if you're building rapport and having conversation and pre-qualifying, the average call's got to be, what, 3 to 5 minutes? That's a lot of talk time.
Oh, yeah.
But he's saying only 1 in 7 of those calls is an actual person wanting to talk. 6 out of 7 are like, take me off your list, and what color underpants are you wearing?
Yeah, click. Yeah.
They feel guilty. They're like, this guy actually took the time. He went behind his computer. He did the math calculations. He did everything. He did the Fibonacci sequence. He did the exact to a T what my offer is going to be. I got to talk to this guy. Hey, I appreciate you spending all this time giving an offer for me, but we get a lot of people like they just feel bad. They're old school, and they appreciate it. So that's why it's so high.
Ketsa Gardner says, Pace, I'm an astro flipping student. How do I get a hold of you with a sub 2? Jamil, you know what I would love to do? Do you mind if I come in as a guest inside of your astro flipping Zoom sometime this week and talk to your students about bringing me and my students sub 2 opportunities?
Would love it.
Do I need to like bring you some food or some chicken wings in order to do that?
Yes.
Jamil,
I just closed on a deal today. A 35 unit mobile home park, cash flows about net $7,500 a month. It came from a TTP student. So I would love to also do a Zoom with the TTP students on how to identify sub 2 deals and how to bring those to my community. We'll do a lot more collaboration between the two. That was a seller finance deal in Yuma, Arizona that I bought from a TTPer at full retail, cash flowing 7,500, not income. The income is a little over 16,000. The net cash flow is $7,500 a month. So I would love to go to both your guys' communities if you'll let me.
Of course. Ketsa, as well, we've got multiple students that are in both mentorships. You can go into the group and reach out and work through them. Actually, Pace, you know that deal that you just bought in North Carolina?
Yes.
Where you helped that elderly woman who was totally pooped the bed on?
Yeah, Jacqueline, I literally just texted her right now.
So the initial lead came from Chi, an astro flipping student.
No.
Who heard the story? Yeah, who heard the story, talked to the seller, handed her over to a sub 2 student, and that's how it found its way to you.
That is amazing.
He's
dude.
on the hotline right now.
Should I call Jacqueline right now? I feel like calling this lady. Oh, maybe we'll do it another day. It's 9:30 her time, but she is texting me back. I'm just checking in on her, make sure she got her money. But how amazing is that?
Collaboration. It's incredible, dude. It's so fun. It's so good.
So your astro flipping student recognized, hey, this is a really tight deal. This lady she has very little equity on the deal.
Yep.
Some wholesaler just took her out to lunch and just pulled the rug out from underneath her. I better bring this to somebody in the community, which she brought it to Ted Miller in my mentorship.
That's
Ted
cheap
Miller's,
right there. Yup, yup.
Amazing. I hope he's getting paid. I'm not working directly with him.
He just wanted to help the lady. He was literally handing it over so that the lady. It's the same heart that Zach is talking about.
That's amazing.
If we all do this business from a place of integrity and high ethics, and we actually care about the people on the other end of the call, we never have to worry about regulation. Problem is that, guys like us aren't everyone. We have to make a conscious decision to do the right thing every day. You wake up and you make a conscious decision to be a good person every day. As human beings, we have the capacity to be either. You got to choose to be good. You got to choose to do right. You got to do that.
Dang, this is such a good question. I got to answer this one real quick. So Lewis says, for sub 2, does the seller have to have pain, or does non-motivated sellers also convert to deals? So here's the magical thing about creative finance. In wholesale, we primarily solve people with pain problems. With creative finance, we solve people with pain, and we solve problems where people only want gain. And what does that mean? They might not have any pain. They might have zero motivation to sell, but because they desire the gain or a higher purchase price, we in creative finance can solve that problem. So for example, the mobile home park I just purchased in Yuma came from a TTP student. The seller literally told the TTP student, I want like 30 grand over what Zillow says my park is worth, or what people have told me it's worth. And if you're not willing to come up to that number, then I have nothing to talk to you about. Does that sound like that guy has any pain? No. So creative finance can solve people who just want gain. So creative finance is pain and gain, and sub 2 and seller finance, novation agreements, all those things can solve pain and gain. So great question.
Zach, I have a proposition for you. So my astro flipping students are talented and trained in being able to sell deals for the highest price available. You are out there teaching your flock how to get out there and make calls and lock up deals. My astro flipping students want to move deals for your students that aren't like you and can't wholesale their deals, take their deals down and sell them retail on the MLS. How does the astro flipping, the sub 2, and the TTP community interact with your community? How do we make the crossover?
Just join one of the fastest growing Facebook groups, Wholesaling Houses for Real. Go in there, and there's a JV sheet on there. It's private. You got to go in there. Once you join, you have to go in the Google Sheet, put in who you are. My name is Jamil Damji. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm here to JV with you. This is my market. These are the virtual markets I do. Here's my phone number. Here's my email. Let's JV. If you want to JV, join that. I think there's like 500 people on there. Go in there, join the Google Sheet. It's the JVing sheet. Call the guy up. That's it.
Amazing.
Boom.
Great turnout. Looked at the numbers today. We hit 500 people live, which means about 2,500 to 2,800 people have tuned in to see you, hear you, Zach. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you? Is it Instagram? You mentioned earlier that you would give people a 30-second answer to any question that they want. Is Instagram the best way to communicate with you, or do you want to give out your personal cell phone number?
I'm not giving my personal cell phone number out.
Dang it, shucks.
I'd love that. But if you want @FlipWithRick or @FlipWithZach on Instagram, I don't go through it every single day, but I try to get through as many people as I can. That's the best way to get a hold of me right now. Go on any of my lives. I'll go help you guys out. But that's kind of where I'm at. But if I went to lunch with as many people that asked me to go on a lunch here locally where I'm at, I wouldn't have to eat for the rest of probably.
Yeah, you'd probably be about 100 pounds heavier, bro.
I would. So everyone wants a one-on-one call with me. The thing is, I don't want to coach someone unless everyone benefits from it. That's just my opinion. But I will do a little voice thing. It's just easier when I'm like walking or something. So @FlipWithZach, @FlipWithRick. Love to talk to you.
I've got a question about upcoming topics. Jamil and I had a conversation today about an article that he read. The article was about the upcoming housing market because these hedge funds like Blackstone are coming in and buying up all the homes. I don't know. Would you say that that's propping up the industry and keeping prices high, Jamil? What's going on there?
Bro, it's impossible for it not to. I've been saying this. I've been shouting this from the rooftops since the beginning of the coronavirus, that there's too much Wall Street on Main Street. And when they own that many homes, when Wall Street owns that many homes, there's absolutely no way they're going to let that bet fail. Look, we're not set for a turnaround in pricing until you see Wall Street split. When you see Wall Street split. Until that point, your money is safe in housing. It's true. They own way too much of the United States real estate for them to let. Look, what are the requirements for pricing to decrease? an increase in inventory and a lack of demand. If demand is artificial, can an increase in the inventory happen? When you have a blank checkbook from Wall Street buying up all of the property, can an increase in inventory happen? So then simple supply and demand means that we aren't, that actual thing can't happen until Wall Street takes away the artificial demand.
Well, and we have a $20 million housing short. I mean, 20 million houses housing shortage. I mean, 20 million houses less than every other decade up until 2010. They were building 26 million houses every decade. They built 6 million from 2010 to 2020. And then
Oh my gosh.
ramped up, they had a pandemic. We all had, we all went through a pandemic that shut everything down even further. So why are housing prices going up? One, they're affordable. And we had a great presentation at that mastermind we were at, you know, compared to what is housing expensive, you know, everything else has gone up in value as well. So, you know, it's whatever.
So my question about that topic is why don't we, because think about it, Rick, who's Zach's father, has been wholesaling since 2002 or 2000, maybe even earlier.
Well, 2002.
We started around the same time.
What did he go through? He went through the same thing that Brent and Jamil went through, right? After wholesaling and being in real estate for a long time. I think that next week's topic should be about how to wholesale successfully in a bubble or in a down economy. I think bringing Rick in, Jamil and Brent, you guys talking about your experience and kind of getting lay of the land and giving people a good game plan of what happens when the shit does hit the fan. Would you guys be open to that topic?
Would love it.
I'd love it. I just don't think that we're even close to it. So it might be good. It might be good to make people feel good. But
that's exactly what I'm saying is why don't we give people there's people that are afraid to buy properties. I have people that DM me and go, is now a good time to buy a property? Is now a good time to fix and flip? Is now a good time to get into wholesale, or should I wait until there's a market market crash? Our job here is to squat up and get people to take action. So I think that having that as a topic would be a great idea. Zach, would your dad come on here? Your dad's pretty awesome, but he might have retired from live video. I don't know.
He does a live every week.
I know this. I'm trying to get you to say this to the audience.
He'll do it. And the only day we don't go live during Monday through Friday is Monday. So I'm off Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So he'll be on. I just got to make sure he's not like going the Keys fishing or something, because it's what he does. But I can lock him down if you give me a couple days notice.
You guys don't go live Monday because you're both watching Wholesale Hotline, right?
Monday Night Football. But yes, Wholesale Hotline too.
Well, what we'll do is we'll have Kelly Hanno, who manages the behind the scenes of Wholesale Hotline. She'll reach out to your pops and you and see if we can get that scheduled up. I know we have Scott Oots. I don't think that's this coming week, but we have Scott Oots coming up in the next couple of weeks. He does about $400,000 to $600,000 a month in wholesale revenue in California, of all places. One of those places that people say is impossible to do wholesaling. And we'd love to get your guys' feedback. Tell us who you want to come on the show. Go to Wholesale Hotline Facebook group. I think we have well over 20,000 members in there at this point. I would love to see your guys' comments in Wholesale Hotline Facebook group and say, here's who we want. Give us what we want and we will deliver. Jamil, Brent, Zach, what are your guys' final words as we wrap up Wholesale Hotline episode number 76?
Brent,
go ahead.
Guys, this was probably, in my opinion, one of the most eye-opening wholesale hotlines, because we got to see an amazing perspective from an amazing young man. It's not often you get people on the show who made $100,000 in high school legally. Then goes on to complete his degree and creates a 7-figure business with his father, to where he now only works 20 hours a week and is able to give back at his young age. Folks, listeners, Wholesaling is real. It's incredible. And you need to get this to be a part of your life. Go join Zach's Facebook group. Go join Pace Morby's Facebook group. Go to Brent Daniels Live every Wednesday. If you do not give yourself the gift of understanding how this can change your financial destinies, then there's no point. There is no point to your journey as an entrepreneur. You have to do this stuff. Take action today. Take action today. Take action today. We will see you next Monday. Wholesale Hotline 77, guys. We're out. Brent, leave us with a final quote.
Oh, shoot. Okay, got it. Here we go. Right here. Feeling that we are called to accomplish something is the most positive way for us to supply this sense of purpose and direction. It is a religious-like quest for each of us. We're all unique. We're all out there. Just be you and just go, have quality conversations, and you will win the real estate game. Thank you, Zach, for joining us. I know it's late, super late, but and thank you for everybody else. Over 500 people here. We love you. We support you. Great job.